It was supposed to be just another ordinary evening at the diner. But when an elderly man saw a starving boy shivering in the cold, he made a simple decision that would change both of their lives forever. The boy's eyes filled with tears as he accepted a warm meal, and then he disappeared. Years later, the old man was rushed to the hospital, unaware that the doctor standing before him was someone he had met long ago. Stay with us for an unbelievable story of kindness, fate, and a shocking twist. Thomas was an 82-year-old retired factory worker. He had lived a simple life, never rich, never famous, but always kind. Every evening he walked to the same small diner, ordered a bowl of soup, and watched the world go by from the window. One particularly cold evening, as he was finishing his meal, he noticed something outside. A young boy, no older than 10, stood near the entrance, his clothes torn, his face pale with hunger. His small hands were clenched into fists as he tried to warm himself against the bitter wind. Thomas's heart ached. The boy wasn't begging. He was just standing there, looking in through the window with quiet desperation. Without a second thought, Thomas called the waiter over. "Bring a hot meal for that boy, and a cup of tea. Put it on my bill." The boy hesitated before stepping inside. He looked at Thomas with wide, teary eyes. "Sir, I don't know how to thank you," he whispered. Thomas simply smiled. "Eat up, son. No one should go to bed hungry." The boy ate in silence, savoring every bite. When he finished, he wiped his mouth, stood up, and whispered, "I won't forget this." Then he ran out the door before Thomas could even ask his name. For Thomas, it was just a small act of kindness. He didn't expect anything in return, but fate had other plans. Years passed. Thomas grew older, slower. His legs weren't as strong, and his hands trembled a little more each day. One evening, as he was walking home, a sharp pain shot through his chest. Everything went blurry. Before he knew it, he was in an ambulance, sirens blaring, rushing toward the hospital. When he opened his eyes, he found himself in a brightly lit hospital room. His chest ached, wires were attached to his body, and nurses bustled around him. He felt weak. Then the door opened, and a doctor stepped in. Tall, confident, wearing a crisp white coat. But there was something familiar about him. Thomas blinked. The doctor's face was serious, but his eyes told a different story. "Sir," the doctor said gently, "it's an honor to take care of you today." Thomas furrowed his brows. "Do I know you?" The doctor smiled. "You may not remember me, but I remember you." He pulled up a chair and sat beside the bed. "Years ago, on a freezing night, you bought dinner for a starving little boy. That boy was me." Thomas's breath caught in his throat. His mind raced back to that night at the diner. The pale, shivering child. The tearful gratitude. And now, he was standing before him, a grown man, a doctor. Tears welled up in Thomas's eyes. You became a doctor?" The young man nodded. "Because of you. That night your kindness reminded me that there are good people in this world. I worked hard, I studied, and I never forgot the man who gave me my first hot meal in days." Thomas chuckled, shaking his head in disbelief. "I was just trying to help a hungry kid." The doctor placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "And in doing so, you changed a life. Now it's my turn to take care of you." Thomas wiped his eyes. He never expected that a single meal could lead to something so profound. But that's the thing about kindness. It has a way of coming full circle. Thomas never thought that one small act of generosity would come back to him in such a life-changing way. But that's the beauty of kindness. It doesn't fade. It doesn't disappear. It grows, multiplies, and finds its way back when you least expect it. So the next time you have a chance to help someone, ask yourself, What if this small gesture could change a life forever? If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more heartwarming real-life stories. Have you ever experienced kindness coming back to you? Tell us in the comments.